Okay, we're live. Welcome back, everybody. Day 18. And today is the day of action. That's what we're going to do. We're going to start to talk about moving forward. And this is something that if we start to think back to Monday, when we started the week of integration, we started to remember the future. We started to think about our future selves, the vision of that, the potential. And on day 2, we started to think about our purpose, that which gives us direction. On day 3, we established a finish line, a goal. And today, it's time to move alongside our purpose towards our goal through our craft and realizing the resources that we are creating and the resources that we have available to do so. And this is something that is interesting to me when it comes to performance, because I believe performance and self-development go hand in hand. And I've had to wrestle with this concept of performance for many years because performance tends to be standardized by someone other than ourselves. And arriving at a standard that we deem to be worthy, valuable, is a challenge. And it can take many years, many iterations. But once you arrive at a place where you have enough data, enough evidence, enough of the feeling of what that standard that is yours, unique to yours, genuine to yours, then all of a sudden the chip changes. You are a click off what you thought you were, and now you're click on who you truly are, what you truly are. And there's a quote, I don't know who this quote is by, but it's something along the lines of, I'm paraphrasing now, of if you want to know who you are, don't ask who you are, act, do, move. Because it's only through motion that you get the feedback, the evidence. So that's what we're going to focus on today. We're going to focus on action. Now, action can be happening in two directions. It can spiral up or it can spiral down. Spiraling up is ascending the spiral ladder that we addressed on week 1. Spiraling down is descending that spiral ladder. What we want to do is we want to experience growth. We want to get to a more elevated state of being, a more elevated state of performance. And the way that we navigate this spiraling up or spiraling down is through not only action, but producing the results, those results giving us a feedback, creating a belief system, and that belief system allowing us to use our imagination and our factual reality to envision our potential, to become aware of our potential. And as much as you can spiral up in that way, you can also spiral down. You can act in ways that are lesser than your current capacity. Maybe you're putting in minimum effort and thus producing mediocre results. And those mediocre results giving you evidence that your belief system that you had of being better than you thought are now down here. Your belief system now becomes one of scarcity. And this scarcity leading to an inability of seeing your true potential. Now, I know that every single one of you who is here does not want to descend that spiral ladder, but we have all, at some point in time, done it. And as long as we can acknowledge that we have done it in the past and that we are responsible for that, then and only then will we be able to shift directions and start to climb back up. So what we're going to do today is we're going to reverse engineer the formula, the structure, the path for achieving through action the results that we want, our goals. And it starts with our potential. And this is where I want you to, beyond your journaling, to, in your daily reflection, to think about really what does that future look like? What does that potential look like? I saw Maya shared her book that she's working on. What does it feel like to hold the book? What does it feel like to release the book? What does it feel like when your readers read the book and give you feedback? What does it feel like when you get your first check for the book? What does that feel like? What does it look like? How are you measuring those things? And ultimately, how are you celebrating that? The celebration of achieving the results is key. Yesterday, I talked about Simone Biles briefly. Today, without spoiling this for anybody, but you'll know eventually, another American woman, Sunny, she took the gold medal in the all-around. And I just saw recently on Simone Biles's Instagram stories that she was filming her coming out of the room. This is Sunny, the now Olympic champion, coming out of the room and saying, "The queen has arrived." Here's the best in the world who, for some now, has been deemed unworthy of being the greatest of all time in gymnastics, celebrating one of her teammates who now holds the title that everybody expected her to have. That ability to celebrate is so powerful. And I've seen this firsthand when working with athletes at the CrossFit Games. I saw this with Annie Thoris' daughter and Katrin Davis' daughter, who were, as they were coming up, kind of rivals. But when the table started to turn, that they were able to celebrate with each other, and to see them being best friends now and working together, collaborating with each other, is that which has further enhanced what they even thought was their potential. They had to create that for themselves. They had to open that up. So celebration is key when thinking about your potential. And something that has become very true for me over the last 20 years is that the potential doesn't have to be a product of huge events. It can be micro victories. The challenge is acknowledging those micro victories. And when you acknowledge those micro victories, that's when you start to magnify them. And that magnification is, just like we talked about a couple of days ago, an elevated emotional experience. And using the concept of the lens, the photography lens, the film lens, you can change lenses to get closer to something, to get a more detailed picture of something, a macro photography, a macro shot. So that's what we're doing. By envisioning our potential, we are experiencing our potential before it's even happened. That is remembering the future. Remember, that is remembering, putting together the members, the pieces, the parts. That's what we're doing here. The second aspect after potential is belief. What is belief? Belief is something that we deem certain, secure, stable, real. What is our belief system in regards to our potential? I believe that if I'm going to finish writing my book, that I'm capable of completing every single chapter and tying that storyline together in a way that is seamless. And I believe that I will be pleasantly surprised when I get to the end, that I will learn something about the character, something about the storyline that I would have never known unless I had done this. I believe that. That is security. And this goes for any outcome that you may have. book, painting a painting, taking a picture, working on a business, developing a better relationship with your parents, with your siblings, with your community, your political ideology. I mean, it goes anywhere you want it to go, but you have to work with that belief and you have to start to identify that which is certain. After our beliefs, we need to start to tap into our results. What are the results that we want to achieve? When I was writing the book, I shared this before, one of the results was I wanted to sell 10,000 copies. I thought that was going to be a stretch goal, but I thought it was possible because they said if you can tap into 10% of your current audience, you will get 10%, you will get 10,000 people. And I saw the belief system was that if the math is there, the stats are there, then if my action is deliberate and relentless, I will get there. By the time the book was released, I had already pre-ordered the initial goal that I had. So before it even came out, that goal had been achieved. And this was this notion that those results were totally possible. And all it required was my effort, my commitment. So think about what results you want to produce. Financial results, physical results, emotional results. And then finally, you got to act. You got to do. Now, this action should not be an action of seeking, but rather, as we talked about yesterday, I think yesterday, the other day, creating and attracting. Don't look for what other people are doing. Yes, you can model, you can take a method, a technique. Do you, and do it all the way. And when you arrive at a roadblock, yes, seek other answers, collaborate with other people, but don't expect them to tell you what to do. Nobody can solve your problems but you. Don't wait for an intervention. Don't wait for a person like myself that claims to be an expert in something to tell you what the right move is. Do whatever you know how to do, and that will produce the results that you need to further enhance, move in the direction of your goal. And how do we do this? Well, we need to start to have some chores. We need to start to work on our housekeeping. Those are daily routines, daily practices. I want you to ask yourself right now, what are the daily practices that I'm going to commit to every day until I achieve my goal? No buts or ifs, just commitment. A relentless commitment. And because it's a commitment to yourself, that which you can never separate from, it's never a trap. It's not a prison. It's ultimate freedom. Ultimate responsibility leads to ultimate freedom. And here's something important. Just because we're working with emotions which are subtle, which are a little hard to grasp, can have fluffy, good vibes, conversations around them, it doesn't mean we can't get aggressive. We can't be sharp. We can't be deliberate. You can be aggressive with kindness. You can be aggressive with empathy. You can be aggressive with your pursuit and still be gentle. Like my friend Sylvester used to say, you got to be gentle yet firm. Be gentle yet firm. Now, there are obstacles that we have to overcome. Some of those obstacles may present themselves as perfection. We think we need to be ready to start, when in reality, you just have to start. This doesn't mean you should lower your standards. This simply means that you have to get out of your way. If you're in the fitness scene, you've heard this before. I think I need to get into a little bit better shape to start training with you, to start working with you. What does that sound like? Sounds like an excuse that comes from a place of fear. What is that fear? Where does that fear live in me? Perfection. Let's get out of our own way and let's simply act. Let's do. Avoidance is another one. We want to hide a little bit, downplay our abilities. No, I don't want the recognition. I'm just doing it because I love it. It's more than kindness. It's more than being compassionate and having empathy and care. It's about self-exploration. It's about arriving at a place where you get to know yourself a little bit more. You get to answer some of the questions that have always been there, weighing on you. It's time to rip the Band-Aid, to stop avoiding, to break down the walls, and to be pleasantly surprised with what is on the other side. Self-esteem gets in the way. We start to devalue what we've got. We've talked about self-worth here. And we talked about self-worth being an act of self-respect. And self-respect, the one of looking back, of reflection. Remember your worth. Remember your value. And own it. Own it all the way. Time. Last minute action. Procrastination. It can be helpful sometimes because it puts a little fire under your ass and gets you moving. But do what you can now. Chip away. Chipping away is key. Just a little bit every day. You've heard this before. But it's kind of like brushing your teeth. You can't wait 6 months to brush your teeth because you're about to go to the dentist for a checkup. You got to brush a little bit every day. And that's what keeps you good, healthy. Use the time that you have wisely. And the time that you have is simply now. You do not know what's going to happen the next minute. Another obstacle that we run into is focus. We struggle to focus. We have all these distractions, all this stuff happening around us. The good news is every single one of you has made it to day 18. You've been here for 18 days, almost 3 weeks. You have focus. You have the ability to do it. You may be able to focus a little bit more or less than others, but you have focus. Work with what you've got. Put your attention, energize, put that effort into your motion, and use your purpose, your intention to transform. Transform your belief system. Some of you may also experience something that my wife and I experience quite often, which is decision fatigue. Man, we're constantly making decisions. I don't know if I can make another. Okay, then practice becoming decisive, meaning solving the majority of your problems in this moment, not putting it off. There's a fire, put the fire out. No excuses. Oh, it's 9 o'clock. Maybe I should just. No. If you can put out the fire now, put out the fire now. Otherwise, if you wait, the house will burn down. This goes back to procrastination. Become decisive. Maybe you make a mistake. Maybe you pour water on the fire and then all of a sudden the fire gets bigger. Oop, that wasn't the right idea. Maybe I should have put a wet towel on top of it. Okay, fine. I learned the lesson. But at least you're becoming decisive. And becoming decisive is becoming deliberate in your choices. And your choices is you choosing to move forward. You're eliminating resistance. And eliminating resistance is the act of taking on challenges rather than resisting them. This is when we fall into the trap of victimhood. Oh, me, I have a lot going on. I don't know if I can take on another challenge right now. The question here is, what else are you going to do? You don't have another option. Well, you could pile on a little bit more, but is it going to make you feel better or worse? Probably worse. So choose the hard thing, which is decide. Make a choice. Clean that shit up. Clean up the runway. Clear it for yourself. And through this, what will end up happening is that we will stop valuing achievement as much, and we will start to value our character. We'll start to reveal our character through this expression. We will start to invest in long-term happiness versus in the short term, sorry. And by doing this, by investing in long-term happiness, we will start to experience short-term happiness. Time bends. We've gone through this. And finally, exercise empathy with yourself rather than sit and wait for something to get fixed. I've told you this before, but I always used to tell my grandpa, who passed away a few years ago, about my problems. And I would always say at the end, well, no worries, it'll work out. And he would always look at me with a stern face and he would point and he would say, no, it will not work out. You will work it out. He was saying, take ownership. Don't wait. Own it. You're responsible for the situation that you're in. Yes, there are circumstances, but you're responsible for what you can do with it. And that's what we're looking at here with our goals. So the question I also want us to carry with us here is, what problem am I trying to solve in this moment? And is it moving me in the direction that I want to go? And we're going to explore this today in our journaling by doing what we've been doing all week, which is starting with closing our mental tabs. We're going to do a brief check-in, and then we're going to process whatever we have. To-do list, dream, something that occurred. Just let it rip. And then we're going to go into our action plan. This week is about action, integrating. And we're going to start by, number one, identifying our result goal and being very specific. Is it a certain amount of money? Is it a number of copies that we're selling of our book? Is it a number of clients? Is it what is it? Be specific about what that goal is. Is it producing or finishing a project? Whatever it may be, write it down. Number two, I want you to state why this result, that is your goal, is important to you. Why is achieving the goal that you set out to achieve important to you? The third prompt is I want you to establish 3 progress goals, 3 checkpoints that tell you that you're moving in the right direction. Number 4, you're going to establish actions, tasks, chores. And you're going to establish 3 chores, 3 tasks, 3 action items for each one of your progress goals. That is 9 total tasks that you're going to be completing to move you towards the goal that you have. And then the last prompt is I want you to ask yourself how achieving this goal will improve your life, which is different than why it's important for you. Importance is the value. How it will improve your life is the impact. It's the changes, the mechanical changes. State those. And when you read that, just like we did yesterday, notice the elevated emotion that comes with it and sit with that for 5 minutes. That clear vision of the impact and the feeling. You're just going to sit with that. And this will transform your belief. It will make it certain. You will embody it. With that belief, you will be able to see with clarity your potential. And when you can see, you'll be able to move. You'll be able to act. And when you act, no matter how well you act, you will achieve results. And when you can see those results, you'll be able to proceed forward. And always remember, how can I position myself in a way that I am ascending the ladder, but without the cop-out, without the excuse, without the tricking myself to believe that I'm walking upstairs when in reality I'm walking down. We all know what direction we're going in. The question is, are we willing to take ownership of it? Are we willing to admit it? The more stern voice that I have today is the voice of loving, deliberate action. It's the voice of security. Find that voice in you. And that, my friends, is today's journaling practice. If anybody has any questions, you know what to do in the chat. If not, I'll see you in the group. And for sure, I'll see you tomorrow at the same time. Happy journaling, my friends. Talk to you soon. Bye.